This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and just following up on that feral cat problem in Jefferson, Iowa that's being dealt with in arguably a draconian fashion with the execution of feral cats.
I mean, what if they accidentally shoot a civilian while trying to kill a cat?
Well, that
Just thinking worst case scenario.
That would be a problem.
That would be.
Yeah.
I mean, can you? That's
Don't
like
think
the
it's going to
Wild
happen.
West. You go, boom. I mean, what if we started blowing up rats? Like, just started killing rats because there's rats everywhere. That's why we here in the city of Chicago have feral cats to stop the rat population.
If somebody else has an idea along the lines of your thinking, which is distressing, Iowa equals corn equals mice equals cats, right? So the solution: stop growing corn.
There you go. See?
See? Why is that so hard? And it worked for Ray Kinsella.
Yeah, exactly. Every farmer has cats on their property.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
All right.
It's a way of life.
Moving on from the feral cat problem in Iowa to the problem at Starbucks. 8,000 Starbucks locations will be closed on May 29th so that 175,000 workers can receive racial bias training.
Oh, my gosh.
After the arrest of those two black gentlemen in Philadelphia waiting to meet a friend at the Philadelphia Starbucks when a store manager called police and said the men were trespassing.
Yeah, here's the store manager of the police call.
I have two gentlemen at my cafe that are refusing to make a purchase or leave.
That's a female who is very persnickety. Listen again.
I have two gentlemen at my cafe that are refusing to make a purchase or leave.
So then 6 police officers showed up to take them out, which I thought was a little aggressive. I mean, 1 would have probably been enough, maybe 2, but 6 of them showed up. And they left without conflict, and they were never charged with anything because there's no evidence.
Is this a proportional response to that incident? 8,000 stores closed. I mean, I don't care because I don't patronize Starbucks and never will.
I care.
So this is great. This is great for Dunkin' Donuts. I guess May 29th is going to be Dunkin' Donuts Day.
It should be.
So Carlos better staff up because he's going to be overrun on May 29th, which is good. So it doesn't bother me at all, but do you find this reactions telling about the culture in which we live? 8,000 stores, 175,000 workers, all on one day to make a big public show of doing racial sensitivity training to get Black Lives Matter and the other organs of the left off of Starbucks' back. That's what they're doing.
Well, CEO Kevin Johnson was on with my girlfriend last night, Don Lemon, to talk about this.
Sitting across from these young men and really trying to understand how this could happen in today's society in a Starbucks. In a Starbucks, where our mission is around the human experience. For me, it's a learning experience. It's an emotional learning experience, and I take it personally. So yeah, I'm affected by it, and I'm going to fix it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fix it. This is a fixer. So he flew all the way to Philadelphia, met with the 2 gentlemen yesterday afternoon.
And right, because this needs to be very public. So again, he can push back the cannibals of the left that are happy to devour their own.
There were
when
protests in Chicago yesterday at 5 Starbucks.
Right, to devour their own when there's an opportunity. When you create identity politics driven mobs, you never know when they're going to show up at your door. And there are a lot of people taking advantage of this to pen op-eds like Renee Graham's in the Boston Globe. It's not just Starbucks. This incident at Starbucks, it's that we've described, we talked about previously. You just heard it. Basically, that was the sum total of it. It's not just Starbucks. White fear is an American problem. To be black is to always be in the wrong place at the wrong time because in America, there is never a right place for black people. Is that right? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. This isn't a Starbucks problem, as Graham continues. It could have been a fast food restaurant, a mall, street in Cambridge. Last Friday, police responded to report of a naked man on a Massachusetts Avenue. 21-year-old black Harvard student being struck several times after he was already pinned on the ground by 3 Cambridge police officers. Well, no, one way to avoid that is not wander around naked on Massachusetts Avenue, but okay. Everything black people do is weighted by irrational white fear. It's mentally exhausting to always be on guard, even during mundane moments like waiting in a coffee shop or asking for directions. Everything black people do is weighted by irrational white fear.
That manager of the Starbucks said she would have called the cops, and she has on white people before. But since it happened to 2 African Americans, now it's seen as a racial
Of course it is.
incident.
Well, obviously, but
I know, but this racial bias thing, have it on your own time. When you work at a company and you have seminars, you do it on your own time. You don't do it on my time. You're not going to close 8,000 Starbucks on May 29th.
well, that's what they're
So
going to do.
I know, that's ridiculous. They should do it on their days off or before their shift starts or after. And guess who's heading up this racial bias seminar? Eric Holder. He hired him last
Of
night.
course, this is a public display. This is all for
bringing in Eric
public
Holder.
consumption. This isn't for training Starbucks employees. It's a day. It's a paid day off for them. What do they care? How's the Race Together program going at Starbucks? Bill, on the north suburbs, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Where's goods
Maybe
after I
the
went to the
two-
Jules?
Maybe the 2 blacks went into Starbucks to talk politics.
Yeah. Okay.
He's trying to be.
Well, that was a big deal last year, wasn't
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They went there to have the conversation about
conversation
race,
about
to be
race.
educated by
Yeah.
Starbucks baristas about racial unity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it? And also Eric Holder.
Yeah.
Maybe he can sell guns to Starbucks employees.
Could be. Yeah.
A new drink, the Fast and Furious. Huh?
Thanks for the call, Bill. Yeah.
With a little moke on top. Hold the whip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Run guns to the cartels through Starbucks. It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
So ridiculous. I don't know when it's going to stop. And Peyton and Eli yesterday said, "Wait,
It's not going to stop.
Starbucks, that's a liberal. They're liberal, right? Isn't the CEO liberal and so crunchy, earthy? Come tell us how you feel. Place." I said, "Oh yeah." And the manager there said how she feels. She has a policy at her store where if you do not buy something, you cannot use the washroom. And so that's what happened.
Do you want separatism? You want to feed separatism? Is that what people want? You want black professionals in a work setting to be in one group and white professionals in another, black students in one classroom and white students in another? Is that you want to do de facto segregation? Seems like there's a lot of people interested in that. I thought that so we're kind of doing in a de facto way what we did by law during a period everyone recognizes as a terrible period in American history, separating people by their race. And now we're organizing people by their race in all of these cultural institutions. Private college in California, Scripps College.
Mm-hmm.
This is, one of the expensive, elite, small, private liberal arts universities in California. Be hosting a pool party in which white people are excluded. Only people who identify by the way,
I love pool parties.
who identify as a POC, person of color, permitted to attend. Take place at Scripps College's Sally Turnin Fieldhouse Pool, so it's on college campus. The party being hosted by a student group that's been identified as the Badass Latinx at Scripps. Okay.
See, that's reverse racism. Or is there such a thing? I mean, you can't say we're going to have a pool party, but you can't come if you're white. Can you imagine if it was the other way around?
The student told the party to the newspaper the party is meant to promote inclusivity and congeniality between ethnic minorities.
I love congeniality.
Most POCs, I love the fact that this is a term how you refer to people. Most POCs, people of color, at any of the Claremont colleges, which are historically PWIs,
PWI.
predominantly white institutions, interact and enjoy interacting with people of all races, but sometimes it's nice to have a time to be with people who identify in the same or similar way that you do, said one student. You think that's a healthy attitude? Is that what you want? Maurice in Berwyn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
I am a valid follower of the law, but I will be honest with you. As an African male, I alter my behaviors all the time to be perceived less threatening.
You alter your behavior to wait. I'm sorry. Say that again. You alter your behavior to be. Can you turn your radio down?
It is down. I'm sorry.
Oh yes.
I'm using a headset.
Oh okay. Sorry. Well,
I alter my behaviors all the time to be perceived as a non-threatening person. It happens. I think that, I don't walk around saying, woe is me about it, but I do, because I am concerned that people will perceive me as being threatening. I'm 6 foot. I'm 280 pounds. People are going to perceive me a certain way. They will see my physical characteristics, but they see my character. So, yes, there's tons of African Americans who alter themselves every single day. I see a Caucasian young lady walking across the street late at night, I will cross the street.
Do you think that white people generally live in irrational fear of black people?
I don't know that. I can't speak for all white people. I think that there are people who go for their stereotypes immediately.
Yeah, sure.
My parents came from the deep South. I have a overwhelming fear of law enforcement contact. So I do. I can't take that chance.
Okay. All right.
What else do you do to alter your behavior besides, if there's a white woman walking down the street, you cross to the other side?
If I'm on an elevator and there's a young lady who comes in, I immediately move to the back of the elevator to give her space. I sometimes will even take the stairs. I have to be aware of my own behaviors to make sure that other people are comfortable.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, it's interesting. Thanks for the comments. I tell you, the whole
I move back to the elevator too, though, when somebody gets on. I don't want to be near people.
Yeah, well, that's
I just give them space. You move to the back.
Yeah, because you want people to get away from me. You're not doing it because you're concerned about their feelings. You're just indulging your own.
I'm very concerned about other people's feelings.
Oh yes. No, but here's the thing, Maurice. It's an interesting thing because how the culture changes. So now with this Me Too era. I think people are. This is a more relationship between the sexes, not race relations. But you find you're more jumpy around women, men. Do you find you're more jumpy around women? You give them space. You don't want anything misconstrued, right?
Oh yeah.
I
think men are acting so differently lately.
I have a friend.
I feel bad for you guys.
I have a friend who just doesn't even talk to women anymore.
Oh really?
Could
that friend be DP?
No.
No.
I talked to, I've talked to a woman 4 hours a day, every day. But
I'm glad you acknowledge my gender.
Yes. But,
thank you.
I think he's just extracting himself from, just banishing women from his life.
The whole the essence of flirting, you can't do that anymore. You can't go to a bar and drink and then flirt with somebody because maybe you touched her where she didn't want to be touched.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, I'm just saying maybe, if
or you say something inappropriate that makes
her feel uncomfortable, and then next thing you know, you're out of a job.
Yeah.
Your reputation's ruined. I mean, over what? Why even bother?
I agree. I have adopted Homer Simpson's philosophy on life. You try and you fail. The lesson is don't try. Verlin on the south side.
Well, and I got to disagree with the last caller. If I see an attractive white woman walking down the street, I'm going to try to get her number. Especially if she's smiling.
You go, Verlin.
Now, but on a serious note, I'm tired of this double standard. Do you know how many Arab gas stations and Arab convenience stores that I go in on my way home from work, and they tell me they won't let me use the bathroom unless I buy something? But it's always a white establishment that gets a black eye because they may have a set of rules, that you have to live by. It's a business, stupid. You're lucky that they letting you sit on your little keyboards and laptops and play video games. People need to get a grip on reality.
All right. Thanks, Verlon. Jay in Highland, Indiana.
Morning, Dan and Am. It's good to have you again. Listen, based on the last caller, I don't doubt that he does do that, but I think that we're mixing being polite and racial animus. fact of the matter is, I'm a big white guy. You don't think that I'm interpreted by, I'm not going to say, but smaller, diminutive white females as a monster? I am. But I have to be Johnny Corporate everywhere I go, and not because I like it, but because I know I have to be perceived that way. I don't think that it's necessarily because of the color of one's skin, but in today's society, everything is so heightened that everyone blames it on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Thanks
and
for the
as
call, Jay.
a white woman who often walks down the street at night, I don't care if you're black or white or Latino. If you're bigger than me, I'm going to be the one crossing the street.
Yeah. Or if
You know what?
if
I
you're
don't even, if
following
I'm
too
walking my dog, sometimes it's different. Like sick ball, get him. You know, I'll be like that if I feel threatened by somebody.
Yeah, or you're
but
following
still.
too closely or something like
Yeah, I
that.
don't
It's
like-
uncomfortable. And it is funny because
But I'm not, diminishing his story and how he feels.
No, I'm not.
but-
I'm not either. But there is the thing, like, if you're like on a side street in Chicago and it's late at night and there's just you and a woman. Like if I'm walking down the street and there's a woman that's half a block ahead or something, I just keep my distance because I don't want her to even perceive that there's a threat. And I think in Chicago generally because of the spike in crime and you hear these stories and people are on edge.
And
You
your
just
neighborhood's
want to
kinda
keep people
dangerous.
distance.
Your neighborhood, there's always a shooting or something in your neighborhood.
What are you talking about?
River North.
Well, Streeterville. I'm in
Streeterville. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please.
Excuse.
You think I'm slumming in River North? Who do you think you're talking to? Tim in Woodstock. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning, Dan and Amy. I agree with Verlin's call. I think the only way the silliness of these sensitivity training seminars is going to stop is for the African American community to tell white liberals to just knock it off, to stop the political pandering. And I guess I've always looked at it as kind of a type of racism where they seem to treat certain groups like they're incapable of doing for themselves.
Yes.
And I think in and of itself, it's awful.
Thanks,
and,
Tim.